What's going on, Shedheads? Welcome back. It is Friday night, and I'm back with the boys. And of course, tonight's just weekend vibes. I gotta say, I've had a pretty long week of work. Had to get up crazy early a couple days to put in a couple extra hours because, some machines went down, which means things got behind. So your boy went in, picked up some slack to get some shit done to keep production up. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but anyway, I'm ready for the weekend to just sit back, chill, maybe get down on a little bit of the new season of Call of Duty that just came out. I don't know if Betty's into that. Gotta say, the changes they've made, I'm liking them. You know what I mean? There's some things that obviously it is what it is at this point, but the small things that they did change, pretty cool. Otherwise, we're not here to talk about Call of Duty. We're here to, talk about, what we're vaping on and that sort of thing. So let's start off with Sean this week. What do you got, bro?
So right before the show even started, I was like, you know what, dude? I feel like I haven't vaped a mech like all week. I've just been kind of like James going kind of nonstop. It's actually been a busy week for me and my job. So I grabbed a battery real quick, slapped it in this guy, and broke out a little bit of clutch action.
Yeah, dude.
That classic little clutch there, and RDA2. DHD chop top. It's life. It's just how I roll. Um, Bang. When the focus wants to come back, it's the guava jelly. It's crazy because I don't believe I ever spent much time vaping guava jelly on a dual coil mech setup like this, and it's really been enjoyable.
Yeah, it's nice, dude.
So that's what I'm doing. What you got going on, Uncle Chris?
Yeah, it's like super simple. It's super simple for me. I got the Arcless V2. On top is the RDA2, custom coated by Palmer Spouters with it's a chop top. Oh, it's a white chop top. I don't know which one it is. I have like multiple, and I got confused after I was looking at them for a while. It's like I don't remember which one this is, but it's a sweet one. And what I got inside is actually I'm not gonna pro tip this because full disclosure, this is a bunch of bottles that I had that was empty and pro tipped them all and got probably like 20 mils. So I like rewicked this RD8 too, and I've just been rocking like dude, so many empties, a lot of empties. Like I put in a lot of bottles, dude. I had over a case of 100 of like empty bottles. It's like 2.5 years easy.
That's a lot of
But yeah,
liquid.
It's a lot, dude.
that's and then I'm drinking another pilsner this
Another
week because
Pilsner, bud.
it's super
Hell yeah.
cold, and I haven't even opened it yet. But go ahead, James.
So for me, I actually got something new, but it's actually a double of something I already have, but it's something kind of cool. It's the Grim Army edition of the Empire. So it's got, some little skeleton cutouts so you can see your cool Steel Valley Vapors battery wrap inside of there. You know what
Dude,
I'm
that looks
saying?
really cool.
The dope bright ass fucking green. You guys know
I
me.
love that
And look at how
green.
close to the chair, it almost matches my chair. You know what I'm saying? It's slightly lighter, but it's cool. I've never had, there's not many things in this color green that are out there. And of course, you got to support Nick. I like this. I actually really enjoy this mod. Believe it or not. Not never really. I've had phases in squonking, kind of gone in and out, but you know what? This thing is just so solid. You know what I mean? Put a 21700 in it. Great battery life if you're running like a single coil RDA like I am. Got the Alexa 24 on there from Inhale Coils. Nice toxic waste chop top from DHD. Just to kind of pull in some more green at the top. That black and green action I think looks pretty damn slick. I've got a single 26 gauge Alien from Breeze Tones in here, I believe, and or actually no, I I think it might be one of his single variants because it's a .38, almost. I would say about probably .4, close to it. But dude, that 60 wattos, it's giving me 4.6 volts, believe it or not. But it's vaping amazing, and of course, do I even have to tell you what's in it?
Hmm.
It's always the first thing that goes
Dude,
into
that box
something.
looks like really good. that green box, dude. Like, I really like that a lot.
Yeah, dude.
You know, like how I feel about squonking, obviously, but like I just
Yeah,
think that box when you show from the
that's
side
what.
without the bottle, and you're like, yo, is that just like a 21-700 like little like? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
and then you're like, oh, it's a squonk mod, but it looks really really good.
Yeah, dude.
I
I
actually
love
like
this
really
green,
like the
bro.
look.
It looks even better in person. You know what I mean? Like, it looks pretty good on camera. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? But it's slick, dude. It's slick. I like it. And of course with the little black fill-ins for like the Empire, and then of course like the Grim logo, just like it's nice, dude. I enjoy it. And I'm hoping they end up doing like different color plates, like a black plate with green buttons on here. I think would have just taken this to the next level.
Ooh.
The patrons would know what I was talking about. But dude,
Oof.
anyway, I'm loving it. It's awesome. Shout outs to Nick. Put out a good product with Vapors Cloud. And sick colorway, dude. I do believe they also put out a couple other color variants that have like these cutouts without the logo, obviously. They did like a red and a black one. Pretty slick. But yeah, that's what I've got. And with that, you know what time it is. It's time to find out what's happened over there in the shed with a little bit of what's new in the shed.
Oh well. In this coming episode, we turned to the ever diverse pool of, I don't even know what to call it, internet stuff that is Reddit. And we went into the Am I the Asshole Reddit. Um and we basically went through and read some Am I the Asshole stories and determined, was that person an asshole? I tell you what, guys, if you've never ever heard some of these stories, they can be crazy. And sometimes, yeah,
We went over a
person,
couple of them.
yeah, sometimes that person is really just an asshole. Other times, wow, I can't believe that they're even questioning if they're an asshole. So if you want to hear some of the ones we picked, go ahead, check it out. Shed Time Podcast on all podcasting platforms. Wherever you find your favorite podcasts, we're there. Uh yeah. And of course, if you want early access to all that, go check out the Patreon. You can find it at our website. Link is available, a la Addy Tooney, the legend himself. And that's what's new in the shed.
Oh yeah. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're just gonna kind of kick back, relax, and just chat with you guys. You know, like I was saying, this weekend, I'm just really looking forward to kicking back and just chilling and not doing shit. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like I don't want to go anywhere really. I'm just gonna fucking sleep in, sit here in the chair, vape my face off, shed time, and maybe play some video games. You know what I mean? That's all I
Yeah,
plan
that's
to
like
do this
keeping it
weekend,
simple.
bro. That's all I
Hey,
want to
that's
do.
keeping it simple. That's fun sometimes,
I
right?
feel you. I'm planning a fire in the backyard because with what I do for work, and I'm sure you understand. I'm sure you're in a similar situation, James. Like these kind of jobs can produce pallets and scrap wood material like crazy.
Dude, you don't scrap. Dude, my entire building is filled with wood, and a lot of it is scrap.
And that's it. So I decided I was gonna load up our delivery van this week. I brought a whole bunch of those pallets back to my house so I can take the circular saw to them this weekend and have some pallet fire going on. So we're gonna definitely have a beer or two and sit around a nice fire in the backyard and enjoy a nice summer evening because lately we've been having a stretch of weather where it's not like unbearably humid.
It's like a little bit of no humidity.
Oh
Wait
my
a sec,
god.
Dude,
no, just less.
you know what we just got,
Yeah.
Sean? Speaking of like bonfires, have you guys seen those smokeless stove like bonfire pits?
Yes, dude.
We have one, dude. It is amazing.
What a cool.
What do you how can you explain that?
So
So I'm not sure what exactly kind of
so
science is going on.
I do.
Oh, well,
I've
if you can
actually
explain it.
I've
Yeah,
learned
give me
about
the
this shit
science.
because I watched a dude who was trying to make a smokeless fire pit like out of brick, and so he was trying to use the same technology that's in one of those actual stove type ones. But basically, what you're doing is there's vents that are down low by where the fire's base is, and there are vents at the top. And so what happens is as the hot air rises, there's a vacuum inside this empty space in between two walls, your outer wall and an inner wall. And so that hot air gets sucked in the vent holes at the top and then circulates itself and refeeds the fire. And so what makes it smokeless is that as soon as that smoke rises, that hot air gets sucked back in the sides, comes back down, feeds right back into the fire, continues to aerate the fire and fuel it more, and this cycle just repetitively continues until your fire burns out.
Yeah. That's pretty much
Would
what
it
I
like
was gonna
burn
say,
way
but
hotter?
in a way dumber, manner. You know what I mean? I was gonna say basically what it is it's like this fucking barrel, right? And it's got these vents at the top and at the bottom, and what happens, the smoke goes up and then it just throws down back to the bottom, so the smoke never escapes. And that was gonna be my explanation.
Well, you pretty much understood the science then.
Well, yeah. I just like
Yep.
But I knew you were gonna definitely do a little bit more in depth than I was, for sure. But dude, they're awesome because literally the smoke just doesn't get a chance to actually, because it's got a little bit of a lip on it. You know what I mean? So like as the smoke's rising off the sides, it literally just gets sucked into the vent, or as it's trying to get, like vapor through a drip tip, instead of it getting a chance to go up there, it's getting sucked in through the vents. So it's like as it goes up, just.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's
awesome.
it's still like open flames, though,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah,
there's
it's just like a
that's
normal
crazy.
fire pit, but with the way that it's built, it just sucks the smoke back down.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna have to look
basically
into that.
you might get a little bit of smoke at the very beginning as you're getting the heat up. But then as soon as your fire's actually burning, you're smokeless.
How about
I've
like
seen some sick
like
shit.
the ash and like the stuff that can like start a fire, like a wildfire? Like does that get sucked in? I don't know.
What do you
Do you know
mean?
what I mean?
So
You know how
what you
like
Oh,
said
when
like
is
you
like
the
have
hot
you like
ash.
pop
like
and
the
you'll
little
see like
ambers.
little ambers. Yeah,
I'm
ambers will
guessing
be
it
like going
depends on
up.
how much fucking speed it's got on the little explosion. You know what I mean? If it's got enough power to
Yeah, I
go
guess
to
that's
get
true.
shot out of there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean at that rate, I mean safety first, right? Like though you can build that fire large enough that it's shooting some solid flame out the
They're not
top of
very
it.
big either. Like the one we
Yeah.
have, it's probably, like a little bit bigger than,
Like
like
probably what, like it's 5 or 10 gallon bucket, maybe.
No, bigger than that. They're like
Okay.
but they're just short. You know what I mean? So it's like the bottom of like a 55-gallon trash can or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
I've seen even smaller ones. I know my
Yeah.
my friend got one as a housewarming gift, and hers was probably about the size of a 5 gallon or a 10 gallon bucket. And I
Yeah,
was like,
they make smaller
"This is
ones,
dope
for
for like a
like
porch or
RVs and
something."
stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Because like my
Dude,
brother
I
and
actually
sister-in-law
saw
have
one that
them.
was like for a tiny house, and it was like one of those things you're describing, like right there, Sean. Like the smaller, it was like a 5 gallon pail that like basically had like everything, but it didn't circulate. It was just a little tiny fireplace. Like you still had to like
Yeah, yeah.
vent it out. You know what I mean?
Like
But it was like this tiny little fireplace, and I was like, what is that good for? And then I thought, oh, if you had like a little hunting cabin, I guess it was like 8 by 10 and insulated well, that little furnace would probably get you going pretty good.
it's probably nice for like James was just saying, an RV situation or just camping in general. If you're like maybe more into roughing it camping, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Where
like you're in a tent,
like you're
you
in
just
a
pop
tent
out the
and
tent.
you're not paying for a like designated camping area where there's already a designated fire pit. You're kind of like, I could carry that thing out on this trail and just pop my tent
Yeah.
off the side of the trail, drop that guy, and I don't have to worry about like catching the woods on fire. Like it definitely has a place for sure.
Yeah.
A small apartment, you put it on the little balcony, you can have a little outdoor fire and your glass of wine.
My sister literally just pulled it out the other day and just had a little bonfire with some of her friends just in the driveway.
Right? Quick s'mores party.
Pretty much.
Pop
They did.
pop.
They go grab some fucking seltzers or some drinks and shit, sit around the fucking fire, listen to music, and just fucking chill. You know what I mean? Vibe out.
And it's safe. Pretty safe.
Yeah, they're not fucking
Yeah.
hurt nobody.
Yeah, and it's not like you're having a big enough fire to make a
Yeah,
difference.
and that's the thing too.
It's
Is like these
smokeless, bro.
things
You
you're
ain't
not.
smoking anybody out.
Exactly, dude. That's the one thing that usually kills me about it is I always end up sitting in the spot where the smoke is going. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or
You
I
could either
move,
move and
and then
it'll
when I'm
follow you.
exactly every time, bro. So it's just like fuck. And then you end up smelling like campfire. Like when you're at a campfire, I love the smell. But when I'm not at the fire anymore, I don't want to smell it. You know what I'm saying? But that shit just
No, the
fucking
shower
sticks to you
after.
so bad.
Oh, dude, the shower after you're like at a campfire. Oh man,
Or
I don't
that
like
know,
picking
that
man.
up a
smell.
sweater you're wearing by the campfire that night and just like going to put it on and you're smelling it as you're pulling it. Oh yeah, oh
Oh, see,
Jesus
I
Christ!
love that shit.
Like I enjoy it at the time, but like after the fact, I'm like, oh damn, that's bad. It's not like a fucking bonfire.
Like weeks later, yeah, it's bad. But like a couple days later, if I pick that sweatshirt up and I go to throw it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I was around a campfire. That's why it smells like fire. I'm into that. I don't that one doesn't bother me. But yeah, if it's like a month later and now it's
Dude,
like it's
that's
got
brutal.
then it's no good. That's for sure.
That's brutal.
Campfire clothes. Sounds like a pop punk band.
Dude,
Yeah.
actually, I haven't been to a campfire or had a campfire in a few years for sure.
And we have like little bonfires and shit whenever we have like get-togethers that end up going into the night. You know what
The
I mean?
evening,
Mm-hmm.
night, yeah.
As soon as it gets dark, my sister's like, "Oh, can we pull out the fire pit? Go for it. Let's do it up."
Aaron says we have the inside part of a tractor rim for a fire pit.
Oh yeah, dude.
After
Dude,
a
that's
few
cool.
hours, it starts glowing orange and we'll be warm for like 15 feet away.
You ain't never made
I
one out of
love
the
that.
inside of a dryer.
Ooh,
You
that's a
take
No,
good
that.
I
You
never
one.
take
have.
that same fucking. You take like a normal
The
tire,
drum,
a
yeah.
normal tire. Like the normal rim from a tire or whatever. Fucking flip the inside case of the dryer that's got like all the little vent holes on it. Fucking
Yeah.
tack weld that to that. Put a little bottom on it, and then you can fucking tack weld like a piece of pipe. Get a pipe that fits inside it. And then you can make like a little swinging grill that can swing over the top of it. You know what I'm saying? My
Whoa. Have,
yeah,
have you seen this before?
yeah.
See, that's
Oh,
next
okay.
Me and my
level.
I was like,
buddy,
yo, if you're just like imagining this right now, like that's
me and my
incredible.
buddy helped his dad make one time.
Dude, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, dude. Go to the fucking
I,
junkyard or whatever and just fucking grab the
I
shit, or
like
if you could
that.
find them laying around. You know what I mean?
Dude, see, that's why I need to like get better at welding. Like I've done it a few times and I was like not
Well, with
very
that,
good.
dude, it ain't gotta be pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's true.
You're gonna be fucking burning shit in it, bro. Who cares what the fuck it
Yep.
looks like? As long as it holds
Yeah,
the
it'll
wood.
it'll pretty much look all kind of
Yeah.
cheesed up after like a
Well,
few
yeah. I
times
mean,
you
back
use it.
Easy. You won't be able to tell. It's gonna all be black at some point.
back in the day, I remember my old man just bought a 55-gallon drum and had it delivered to the house, and that became the fire pit. And we drilled a bunch of holes through it, and that was it. This was back in the day when we were smokers, so we would just throw cigarette butts into the drum, like empty an ashtray, dump it into the drum,
Yeah.
and then that way when we would have a fire, you just burn it all out, get rid of them. And I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, in hindsight, that was probably such a terrible idea to be lighting all those filters on fire.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my god.
I can't think all the kinds of shit we used to throw in fucking fires when we were a kid, bro. Anything that we could find that we think would burn, bro. Oh, I gotta see it burn. I was a
Mm.
slight pyro when I was a kid. You know what I mean? I was into that shit. I loved burning shit.
Remember, I had a buddy. He took one of those like it's the huge basin that you have at like a horse farm for like the horses to
Yeah.
feed or to drink water out of. He took that and used that as a fire pit. Dug like a small hole so he could dip it a little bit into the ground. And then what he and his buddies would do is they would take a couple of really big logs and they'd angle them in a V shape so they'd have a self-feeding fire. And then they just start stacking around logs on top of it. So this way, as it burned, it would just keep feeding the fire down. And then they could just keep adding logs on it and they keep rolling their way
Dude,
in.
that's really cool.
That's
That's
It was pretty brilliant because I mean,
it'd take a
eventually
while, but like that'd be cool, man.
by the end of the night, you know what I mean? Like your two feeder logs have now burnt out and they're just falling into the fire. And we know, all right, like it's almost quitting time. It's getting late, but But yeah, like genius move for the backyard parties back in the day. You know, he just do that, and then he wouldn't have to think about tending his fire for a solid like 4 or 5 hours. He could just go grill, hang out with everybody, get, shed faced, and then check on it a little bit later and go grab a couple more logs. Like, cool, we definitely got a few more hours. Here we go. You know?
Dude, that's perfect.
Yeah, genius.
I love like little things like that that you kind of like meet along the way, like or you get to do because of the people you meet along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's always like people that would just have that. I've known people that just have like one really unique thing that's crazy cool, but it's like beyond what I would be willing to go for. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yep.
If that makes sense. Like I don't know if I would actually go for that fire pit, but like, dude, that is really cool, and I would love to see that in action.
It's like, yeah, I want to be friends and have that party experience with you.
Yes,
Especially because you think
exactly.
about that, right? Like that's like a 6, 7 foot long metal container. So he's got a like 7 foot wall of fire, basically, if he wants it.
That's gnarly.
Yeah, like it could be get out of control quick. I guess it's that big though.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to be responsible with it. You can't be like fucking 7 feet
Yeah,
wide and
yeah.
7 feet
Yeah,
tall.
dude. It was like Smokey the Bear says, only you
And
could
then pour a
prevent
bunch of
forest
gas
fires.
on it.
Hey, you know my
Yeah,
friend
dude. Smokey the
Ed?
Bear. He taught us well.
We had a friend Ed who would do shit like that. He'd be like, "Need fire bigger, grab gas can." Like, Ed, don't. You're gonna blow up one day.
Oh, dude, we used to do stupid shit when we go to the dunes. We'd remember when Sobeys used to come in glass bottles.
Yep.
Yep.
You fill it up like halfway with like some gas, screw the cap back on it, and just put a pinhole like in the cap or whatever, and then you just fucking put it in the fire, and eventually, dude, that thing will go boom. We used to call them Sobe bombs. I do
Yeah, I
not
guess it like
recommend doing
heats up the
this.
gas enough that the gas starts to escape, and then it just like hits it, and it's like
Yeah, and
right
it
into
Boom.
just
the
like
bottle
fucking
Yep.
probably.
shoots it like almost like a
You better
fucking.
stay away from that.
Oh yeah, dude, you put it in there before you start the fire.
And then what? You like then you run away?
You put it in there, you start your fire because you're not lighting the bottle. You know what I mean?
No, I know, but like that's so if you're just like kicking it by the fire, like
No,
it
you,
could
you
just
don't do this
explode
by
and
in a fire that you're like all chilling around. You do this in a big
oh
ass
okay.
bonfire in the dunes that everybody's. It's
Oh.
I'm talking about big bonfire where you're burning Christmas trees and shit.
Oh dang. Is it like almost all sand? Like sorry
Yeah,
for
that's what the dunes are.
okay.
It's just straight sand.
All right.
It's like the
So there's
Sahara.
like nothing to catch on fire. It's just sand.
Well, whatever you have brought around near it, you know what I mean? Like your trailer, your car, your fucking dirt bikes, your fucking chair, whatever you have in the general vicinity can, if you're stupid.
Your friends. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
I
Yeah.
remember doing shit
So does that
like
mean
But
that
there's
when we
like
were
lots of people that
kids.
don't do this though. This is all dumb.
well, yeah, I don't think we need
No,
to
I yeah, we do because it's uses YouTube.
no 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 like I actually don't remember where I was gonna go. But yes, yeah, no, nobody do anything that we're talking
Yeah,
about.
this is
None
all
of us
bad.
have probably even done it. Like this could just be for dramatic
Allegedly.
purposes. Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you're gonna have large, extremely large bonfires, you do them under controlled circumstances where it's fully licensed, because that was where I really got to experience that on like the real fun level. Um, Back when I was a kid growing up, we belonged to a beach association, and they used to have these bonfire competitions with other beaches in the local area. And so people from the neighborhood would all come down and bring things, and they would build these monster towers to set on fire. Like they would do it on the 3rd of
What the heck?
July. Yeah. So basically, like 3rd of July would happen. You'd get up at like 8 o'clock in the morning. There would already be people starting to build the bonfire on the beach. And it'd be like James was saying, like Christmas trees, fucking people would
Pallets,
literally hold on
whatever.
to Christmas trees. They'd bring pallets, old furniture, and
All the fucking clippings from their tree they just trimmed. You know, I mean, like
exactly.
legit. People are bringing trailers of just shit to burn.
And like they just start building it
Dude.
as tall and as big as humanly possible, because I mean it's on the beach, so thankfully like the ocean is going to be a big help. Plus, we have the local community support, so the fire department is nearby in case anything ever got actually out of control. Um, but yeah, they would literally build this thing sometimes 15, 20 feet high. You'd have like telephone poles in the center to like be a support beam, and then they would light that shit ablaze come dark. And that was the 3rd of July celebration. Ton of people at the beach, gigantic, monstrous bonfire. Few of the neighborhood people be setting off some fireworks.
Dude, you go riding around the dunes when they're doing that, bro, and you get to the top, the peak of like one of like the tallest dunes. You start looking around, bro, and you just see all these fucking fires, bro, just like all over the place because everybody's got it. Just pulls up and makes camp in different spots around the fucking dunes. And
Does it get like real cold there at night?
it can, yeah. The desert gets cold at night. People don't realize that. It's hot during the day and
No, I
fucking
knew
cold
they
at
got
night.
cold. Yeah, like drastic changes.
Yeah, it's a big change, bro. Like anywhere from 30 to 40 degree change. Easy.
Yeah, I mean, a desert just means dry. Deserts can be cold.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah, but yeah, like it's
I won't say it's like cold, cold, but it gets cold. You know what I mean? Like it
it,
don't get cold compared to like what you're used to, Chris, or what you're used to, Sean. But
Yeah, yeah.
it gets cold for what we're used to. You know what I mean?
but my wife
Comparative.
lived out that way, and I mean, I'm sure you've experienced it too, living in that same region. Like you guys get snow
Oh,
in
yeah, it
the desert,
happens. It just doesn't happen
like
very often. You know what I mean? And it's
like
not like
it
it
is a
happens.
thing.
Yeah, and it's not like we get any to the point where, well, depending on the area, because like if you live up in the mountain areas, it snows all the time. You know what I mean? Like my buddy who lives in Crestline, when it snows, he's got to shovel his driveway. You know what I mean? And he only lives like half an hour away from where I'm at.
But is he just like higher in the mountains or
Yeah,
something?
he's just because he's in higher
Oh, okay.
elevation. There's like multiple mountain ranges around where I'm at. Like you've got Crestline, you've got Big Bear, you've got Ridgecrest, and like each one of them like have like their own like little like Big Bear's probably one of the most popular ones. You hear a lot of people talk about that. They've got like a ski slope, and they used to have a pretty nice lake that I don't even know if it's probably actually got water in it again now after all the rain and shit we've been getting. Um, but then Wrightwood's where I used to go all the time for snowboarding and stuff because their slopes were better. They didn't blow as much. They didn't
Yeah, I
make.
feel like I've heard of Big Bear, but I've never heard of the other one.
Yeah, they. That's where Mountain High is. That's what I named my volcano after. You know,
Nice.
you know what I'm saying. But anyway, that's beside the point. And then like Crestline, they've got like Lake Gregory and Lake Arrowheads like up around in that area. Cool spot. I used to go. That's where I used to go jam all the time. Speaking of which, did I tell you guys I actually busted out the old guitar like a week or two ago?
Yo,
No, no, I didn't know
Actually,
that.
no, it was 4th of July, as a matter of fact. I think it
It's like a
might.
month ago.
So a month? No, maybe it was one of the. Maybe it wasn't that weekend. It could have been. Either way, I busted it all out, and let me tell you guys, I'm a bit rusty, a little bit
Yeah,
rusty.
I'm sure
You
it's
know?
gonna take some time. A
Oh
few
yeah,
more times you'll pick it up and be like, oh yeah, all right.
yeah. I kind of. It took me a minute, but eventually, after dicking around for about 5-10 minutes, I started remembering some shit.
Had your like, do you have to like recallus your fingers? Is that
Oh
like a
yeah,
thing?
dude, my finger.
mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you what though, like the fact that I work with my hands for like a living and I work with like wood and shit, my hands are pretty, getting pretty dry and fucking hard as it is. You know what I'm saying? So like I've got a bit
Yeah.
of a callus, so it's not as bad as like it used to be, but like after playing for about 10, 15 minutes, I could definitely tell like, oh, I need to build bad boys back up again a little bit.
That finger
Not only that, but it's
conditioning
just
too.
it's the dexterity. Exactly. Like
Yeah, like
my fingers don't move like they used to. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to play like Sublime solos, and I know what I'm doing. I know what the solo is. I know where my fingers have to go because these things are burned into my brain. Because it used to be all I used to. I'd just sit here and just fuck around and play those, like the What I Got solo, bro. It's like that's the one thing. Like if I pick up a guitar, that's what I'm gonna fuck around with majority of the time, just because it's one of my favorites and it just stands out in my brain. You know what I mean? Like that specific song, for some reason, I have to say that's probably one of my favorite songs. You know what I mean? For multiple reasons, but we don't have to necessarily get into that. But that one, dude, it just I'm looking at my fretboard.
I can hear it in my head
Yeah,
as you've been talking about it.
I'm looking at my fretboard. I'm hearing it, but my fingers ain't. No, up a string. No, come on. No, you're not moving fast enough for
Yeah,
by the end
I
of the
gotta
night.
imagine that.
By the end of
like,
the night, I did get it though.
that move all the way up the neck. That when you haven't done it in a long time, that's like no, Pinky, do the thing now, please.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I remember you used to be able to do the thing where you'd like press down on this board and it sounds good.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's the pinky.
You.
Yeah, like the pinky's like, nah, go fuck yourself, bud. I can't do this anymore. I'm like, no, you need to get stronger. Like I can't have you wimp out after just a couple of licks.
Oh, dude, my pinkies it doesn't do much. It especially like my picking hand, bro. Like I can't use my pinky at all because it's retarded and it don't really work like it's supposed to. Like that first knuckle is like permanently bent.
I was always an open hand pick anyway.
Well, I'm talking about like if I'm trying to do like crazy finger picking or anything like that, which I've tried to do multiple times and I'm not that good at it, so I just stuck to chord progressions. But yeah, dude, it was cool to just bust that out. I need to start doing it a little bit more often now. You know what I mean? When I'm just sitting here instead of sitting here and getting into my scrolls and whatever, I just need to pick that up, fiddle around for about like 20 minutes, half hour. You know what I mean? Not to be long, but just get a little, a little session.
Yeah, dude, you just got to build that up.
Well, that dude, and I haven't.
If one day you went an hour, it wouldn't be like, oh man, I'm not touching it for like a week.
That and like obviously if I'm playing guitar, majority of the time I do a little bit of singing too. And I haven't done that in a long time either. Almost forgot I knew how. You know what I mean? That the coolest part about it was just like
I know how to sing along on to the radio in the car.
Oh yeah, I do that sometimes, but I hadn't like sang songs the way like I sing them because I don't necessarily sing it the way Bradley sang them. You know what I mean? Like when I'm playing Sublime, like I have my own little afflections or whatever you want to call it. Like when I do it, and even other songs too, I've always kind of made a little bit more my vibe sort of thing. Because majority of the time, depending on what song it is, I don't have that high of a register majority of the time, so I've got to kind of finagle it to make it
stick to your range.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So a lot of times there's songs that I don't necessarily play them in the key they're supposed to be in because I just can't get there. You know what I mean? So I just drop it down on the half step. You know what I mean? Give me a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah.
No, man, I think that that's like one of those things you get with practice too. You get way more range the more you sing. Once you have to try to hit those notes.
That and I've never really
notes,
never really worked on like vocals. You know what I mean? Like that's like I just kind of just done it with what I have. You know what I mean? And I've never really had any sort of training or done any trainings, I guess you could say. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of go off of ear, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
I mean, I had a buddy that at one point, it was Simple Man, but the way that Shinedown had done it, he spent about 6 months just hours and hours a week playing that song on repeat until he could match and harmonize it the entire way But I'll tell you what, when that dude did it, like, and his buddy would play the guitar, people got chills because he would nail that shit. But it must have taken him a solid 6 months of doing that shit to be able to hit it that flawlessly.
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
guess that's like a pretty good song to like showcase yourself ultimately
LJ
too.
LJ Pickering says, retaining your fingers on things you've learned before after a hiatus is so maddening. 100%, bro. Because like I had a pretty eclectic selection of songs that I used to play. Like they weren't necessarily all like one genre necessarily. And I sat down to play that night, and I remembered maybe like three or four when I used to know probably a good, I don't know, 20 or more. You know what I mean? On top of like things that I wrote. Like that was one thing that kind of pissed me off too, is like there's a song that I wrote with my buddies that I used to jam out with that I love like the intro lick and then like the chord progression that we've came up with for it. So like I obviously could remember that, but then I was like, what were the words to this fucking song? I know we had words. I think part of the reason why I don't really remember them is because I didn't write the words. Even though like I was the vocalist at the time. I just came up with the riff and then we just built off that, which was a cool process for me because I've always gone words first, then music. You know what I mean? Because it was easier for me to come up with the lyrics and the melody and find the chords to fit it than it was for me to fit words. Well, no, not necessarily. There would be, I guess there would be sometimes I'd come up with the lick first, but that was just a cool process, just kind of like having everybody come up with their own part to the song. Like my buddy came up with like his little bass riff, and then obviously our drummer came up with the whole rhythm to it, and then he ended up writing the words to it, and it was total, dude. If you heard this song, you would have thought it was like maybe like a 80s hair band wrote this song. Like
Really?
legit, dude. Because like it had that vibe. You know what I mean? A little bit of some distortion, little reverb in there, you know what I mean? Starts off with like kind of like a slow little picking pattern that eventually builds into like the verse that then evolves into the chorus, where like it's the same progression like from the intro to the verse to the beginning of the chorus, and then at the end of the chorus, like for instead of like extending or going back, we actually uh stepped it down a couple, like it was just cool. And then coming up with like the little fucking solo I made for it, which was a super super simple, but it just like fit with the vibe of the song. It was dope, dude. I wish I remembered how like all the words, and like honestly, I wish I could go jam with those dudes again, man. I missed going up there and fucking just getting shed timed and just rocking out for like a couple hours. You know what I mean? It made me feel like a rock star, even though no one was there to ever watch us play. It was just the three of us in this dude's tiny little cabin, and we literally took over the entire living room with two guitar cabs, a bass cab, his drum set, multiple guitars and shit, mic stands, the whole thing, and it would be fully plugged in, turned up, microphones on, doors, windows open, jamming out, bro. It was good times. Good
And so
times.
like how close was the closest neighbor? Would you guess?
Like not that far. Like probably like 10, 20 feet, if that. You know what I mean?
Oh, you guys are still just raging like that?
Yeah, dude. But sometimes like people would be walking down the street and they'd stop and just fucking listen for a little bit. The
Dude,
best
that would have
part,
been sick if you guys were doing it in a garage and then like when people stop, you
dude.
just like
Well,
open the garage, smoke comes out, and just be like
dude,
yeah.
Lasers like start flashing
there
Yeah,
was a
dude.
everywhere.
point where we my buddy brought over his wireless fucking setups, and we fucking me and him plugged in wirelessly, and we were standing on the front deck, me and him playing while the drummer was in the house. So me and him are just sitting there fucking jamming on the deck, and you could hear the shit coming from the house, bro. It was fun. We used to do all kinds of fun shit. The coolest part about that is like I got the opportunity to play other things too. You know what I mean? Because like I don't have a drum set, but Kirk did. And when he wasn't sitting down, I was. You know what I mean? I was fucking around. You know what I mean? I'm not the best drummer, but I can keep a little rhythm, a little beat. But that was one thing I always wished I learned how to play or had more opportunity to sit down and play. Like I could do basic, stuff, keep a, basic rhythm, but I would have loved to learn to play that. And then every now and then I pick up my buddy Brownie's bass, fuck around with that for a little bit. Play guitars that I didn't own, like fucking 7 strings and 9 string fucking electric guitars and shit, and some dope like resonators and like all kinds of stuff.
Do you know if like that guy still owns that cabin?
Oh no, he doesn't. That's part of the reason why we don't jam anymore.
Ah, okay.
Because he did. I think my other buddy still lives up there, and like I probably could go jam with him maybe. Like I actually talked to him not too long ago. I haven't talked to him since I left the door shop, which was a couple years ago. Uh,
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I was like, dude, we should get together because he sent me a video because there was a period of time where like every like 4th of July he'd throw a party at his house, like a backyard party, and he'd get all of his fucking jam buddies together that he played with over the years or done shows with and stuff over the years, and like a couple of them like have like little like they've all played together, so some of them were in bands together before, so like they'd go up and do like a little set of stuff that they used to do, and then people would go up there and switch around and like so it was like a just big jam party. It was like we were putting on a show with like bands compiled of different people from all these different group. It was fun, dude. Like I obviously didn't play with a lot of the people because I never had the opportunity to, but like there'd be a point in the night where we all be shed faced, a little tipsy, and somebody just pick something up, and then we just try to fiddle around and jam out. I wonder if he still does that. But yeah, he sent me a video from one of those nights when it was like our set. And I think it was the night that the time I took my dad, and I got him to well, I didn't get him to, but he partaked in a little shed time for the first time in my
Oh,
life with me that night, and it was fucking funny. I think I talked about this on the podcast. So if you
yeah. I
haven't
was gonna say I
checked
think
out the
I've
Shed
heard
Time
it.
podcast, go over there and go check that out. And we're talking about Shed Time. I think it's about that
Mm.
time. You know what I'm saying? To get into it.
Yes. So
Uh, yeah.
as we hop on our little segue, you like that, and roll on to this little here break. Remember, friends, it's time for you to inhale the good shit. Exhale that bullshit. Cause it's shit time.
Let's get it.